For most people, when they picture their retirement, they typically see themselves in their 60s after having spent decades in the workforce. But for some, the thought of working until their 60s just sounds like a nightmare, and their ideal plan is being able to retire early, and that's become their number one goal. Now, I've talked to hundreds of people who've retired early, some that are in their 50s, some in their 40s, and even some in their 30s, and they all had 4 things in common. So let's jump into the 4 habits of successful early retirees. Hey everybody, I'm Johnathan Rankin. I'm the founder and CEO of Theorem Wealth Management. My firm and I have been helping clients plan and execute their retirement plans by focusing on 3 key areas: maximizing retirement income, optimizing investments, and reducing taxes. If you're planning on retiring or you're already retired, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our retirement videos or episodes of our retirement podcast called The Retire Once Show. All right, so number 1, every successful early retiree was hyper-focused on that goal of early retirement. This was not some passive decision for them. They didn't just wake up one day and think to themselves, I really don't feel like going into the office today. Actually, you know what? I don't feel like going into the office anymore at all. It's really not easy to just stop working a full-time career and financially support yourself at a young age. There's a reason why Social Security doesn't start until your 60s and Medicare doesn't kick in until you're 65. The system wasn't built to retire early. That is why every decision that was made intentionally. Now, if you've ever met an Ironman athlete or a marathon runner, they know they need to train their bodies for one thing, and that's endurance. And every decision they make, from how often they train, to what they eat, down to what shoes and socks they wear, is thought out. Now, the same goes for retiring early. Depending on what age you want to retire, you could be facing a 50 or 60-year retirement. That's a very long time to make sure that you're financially secure. That brings me to number 2. Every successful early retiree was an aggressive saver. Now, that doesn't mean they made the most money. In fact, the majority of people that I met only made a modest income from their primary job. But they did have one thing. They had a lot of other opportunities to earn additional income. They had side jobs or other means of making money. And that money wasn't going towards a new car or a vacation. It was going into savings. Every single person I talked to who retired early was able to think about specific examples of things that they sacrificed so that they could retire early. For some, it was driving their car until the literal wheels fell off and not upgrading to the newest model. For others, it was not upsizing their home, even when their family was growing and things got a little tight in the house. And for others, it was just specific purchases that they remember they didn't buy because they knew the money would be better saved and invested than it would be spent. That brings me to number 3. Every successful early retiree was a true long-term investor. Now, there is a very big difference between saying you're a long-term investor and actually being a long-term investor. A lot of people say they are a long-term investor until a bear market hits, just like it did this year, and they start making a bunch of changes in their portfolio, all based on emotion. Successful early retirees, on the other hand, rarely focus on the investments because they know one thing. They know it's out of their control. They either work with advisors like our firm to handle it, or they just invest passively on their own. But their focus isn't the day-to-day or week-to-week market swings. It's about how much money they can earn. How can they earn additional income to save more and invest more? It's really not about the market. They focus on what they can control, which is the effort they put into earning an income and saving. That brings me to the 4th and final habit of successful early retirees. And before I jump into that, if you like this video, can you do me a favor? Hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're thinking about retiring early, or you just want to know if you're able to make work optional and you don't know where to start, use that link in the description below. Schedule some time with an advisor at our firm. We'd be happy to go through a detailed retirement analysis to see if you're on track to retiring early. Okay, back to number 4. Every successful early retiree had a specific plan for what they were going to do with their time. Retirement was not about just not going to a day job anymore and sitting around watching TV. Look, we all love a good show or two, but every single person that retired early had a passion that was going to fulfill their life. Almost every single one of them started by answering the question, if you could do anything without ever having to worry about money, what would that thing be? For some, it took years to answer that question, and for others, it was pretty quick. But almost every single time that I saw somebody who wasn't fulfilled with their retirement, they really weren't able to answer that question, and they almost always went back to work in the field that they had left. But they didn't do it for the money because they were able to retire early. They did it to bring back the purpose in their life. One of the stages of retirement is called disenchantment, where the honeymoon phase of retirement is over and people find themselves wondering, what am I supposed to do with all this free time and unstructured days? Now, we all know 5 extra Saturdays a week sounds great in theory, but we've all probably been on that vacation that might have lasted a day or two longer than we really wanted. And towards the end of it, you start getting the feeling, I'd really like to get back to the office. I kind of want to get back into the swing of things, back home, back into our structured routine. Early retirement can be amazing, but it takes a lot of work, not just to get there, but it takes a lot of hard work to not just stay retired, but stay happily retired. Now, if you're thinking about retiring soon, make sure you check out this video where I talk about the 5 worst things you could do after you're retired. I'll see you there.